Basically, this way also we can understand the pastimes of Krishna. So, in fact, these pastimes originally manifested. Krishna was enacted in these pastimes. So we can all see that. So this is not just stories. This was all really happened when Krishna was there. So that's where we have to really get into. As it's mentioned that in the scriptures, Srimad Bhagavatam, one who hears these pastimes of Krishna, understanding who Krishna is, definitely he will be delivered. No doubt into that. Deliverance means that we are in this world completely real nature, completely in the clutches of material energy and the nature, and we are wandering in this world for life after life after life, one after another. You never know. Sometimes human, sometimes in the aquatics, in the ocean, in the water, in the sky, in the land, in the sky, in the air. In so many ways, we are all taking various forms of this life, various forms of the life. But the problem is that we completely forget. As soon as we get the another birth, we completely forget or completely gone from that consciousness. We get a new set of consciousness. Then we wander, we enjoy, we have the pain, pleasure on that life. This goes on. Janma bhuvanir lokir punaravartino Arjuna. From the Brahma to the lower planetary system, punaravartino Arjuna. They are completely life after life. Punarapi jananam, punarapi maranam, punarapi jadare, janani shayanam. Iha samsaram bahusustaram, kripaya pare pahi murare. Sri Shankaracharya compiled this. Punarapi jananam, punarapi maranam. Jananam and maranam. Punarapi jananam, punarapi maranam, punarapi janani jadare shayanam. Then we are in this material consciousness. We are sleeping life after life after life after life. So Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, no, this Bhakti Vinod Thakur, Jiva Jago, that's a sleeping soul. Oh, sleeping soul, Jiva Jago, Udho. Wake up, wake up. So like that. So Jadare Shayanam, in this body we are sleeping with these various bodies. Ihasam Saram, Bhagadu Saram. This material world is Bhagadu Saram, is very, very difficult to overcome. So much of dangerous, so much of danger, so much of dangerous situations that every living entity goes through. Kripaya pare pahi murare. Please, Kripaya pare pahi murare. That take the lotus feet of that supreme Murari, one who is killed the demon called Mura. Is Murari. Please take the shelter of that lotus feet of that supreme Lord, Murari. So this is our greatest opportunities, dear devotees. Krishna appears manifest just to deliver all of us. Same Krishna appeared 500 years ago as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. The same reason, same purpose. In order to simplify this process, in every yuga there is certain processes to follow. But in the age of Kali, there is the simplest process out of all yugas. The simplest process is in this yuga. That all we need to do just hear and chant the holy name of Krishna. So thank you so much, dear devotees, for joining today. So today we will be covering very beautiful topic of Krishna is pleased with delivering the wives of Brahmanas. So let us, much further ado, let us go to the section. Let me take this. Okay. Are you all able to see the screen? Can you confirm? Hare
Yes,
Krishna.
Prabhuji.
Yes, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Hare Krishna. So before we start, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Dado Jayamudire Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavada Sevaya Bhagavadi Uttama Sloke Bhaktir Bhavadi Naishtigim. So we are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam. This is the 10th canto, 33rd chapter of the Srimad Bhagavatam. So this chapter is titled as Delivering the Wives of the Brahmanas Who Performed the Sacrifice. Very, very beautiful. This pastimes happen. Krishna was just, uh, like we can say that 6 years, up to 5 to 6 years old. Then at the age of 7, Krishna raised the Govardhan. So this pastime manifested before that. And then also after, Krishna stole the garments of
Dad?
Hare Krishna. Can we put on mute? Okay. So this is basically, this manifested this pastime after Krishna stole the garments of the gopis. So we know that why the gopis, Krishna took that step. The gopis were started to do the Kartyayani Vrata in order to get the Supreme Lord as their husband. So Krishna is Antaryami. He is seated in everyone's heart. Krishna knows exactly what every person needed. We cannot cheat him. Or we cannot say him that, oh, I am so wonderful devotee. But Krishna knows everything. All our movements, all our gesture, all our thoughts, everything Krishna knows. Krishna understands that. That's why he is known as Bhavagrahi. He can even understand that what bhava we have, what we are. So Krishna understood that the desires of the gopis. So Krishna went and then fulfilled that their desires, that Krishna become the husbands of the gopis by stealing the garments of the gopis. So this usually husband does. So this is the way that Krishna fulfilled the desires of the devotees, especially that one who has such a pure love for Krishna. Similarly, in this pastime, Krishna also fulfilling that the desires of the wives of the Brahmana, they were also very pure devotees of the Lord. So the great aspect of this chapter is that just by hearing and meditating upon that, the glories and the pastimes of Krishna, one naturally attracted to Krishna. Remember that, dear devotees. This is the essence of this chapter. By hearing the glories of Krishna, by meditating upon that pastimes of Krishna, understanding that he is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and then develop that loving attachment for Krishna, then one naturally get Krishna. So this is the essence of this chapter. So without further, and we can see that how Krishna is so much merciful towards the wife of the Brahmanas. The morning passed, and the cowherd boys were very hungry because they had not eaten breakfast. They immediately approached Krishna and Balarama and said, Dear Krishna and Balarama, you are both all powerful. You can kill many, many demons, but today we are much afflicted with hunger. This is disturbing us. Please arrange for something that will mitigate our hunger. So, the devotees, Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti writes a very beautiful translation and the purport of, and then commentary on this, these verses. And Srila Prabhupada many times quotes that in the purport of Srimad Bhagavatam, and especially Srila Prabhupada mention all this in his purport on this chapter. So here, indirectly, that revealing that one who has some problems of hunger, like poor, right? Krishna says that four kinds of people approach him. Chadurvido bhajande mam janasukrudo arjuna artho arthati jignasu janina bhardarshapa. Four kinds of people approach me. So this is also indirectly giving that one can even approach for Krishna, even they have the scarcity of food. So artharthi jignasu janina bhardarshaba. These four kinds of people approach Krishna. Artho means very much distressed in so many ways. People are distressed because of their poverty. People are distressed because of their diseased conditions. People are distressed because of their material conditions. Artharthi. That means one whose desire of wealth. So he can approach Krishna. One who is distressed condition, he can approach Krishna. And Jnanina, right? One who is desire of inquire of the knowledge, and one who is the pure devotee. Artharth jignasu, one who is inquisitive. Jnanina bharadarshabha, in order to attain that transcendental knowledge, you can also approach Krishna. So exactly this cowherd boys also did the same thing. And as it says that also in the scriptures, Sri Rupa Goswami, it says that sarva kama udharati tivrena bhakti yogena ejade purushamara. That means sarva kama, akama, sarva kama, moksha kama udharati. Even akama, if there is no kama, sarva kama, if you have full of desires, moksha kama, even desire for the liberation, tivrena bhakti yogena. So akama, sarva kama, moksha kama udharati tivrena bhakti yogena ejade purusham param. That means they all can attain Krishna. So they all can attain Krishna, even they approach. So I like that. So many times it's mentioned that. So that's also indirectly refers here that one who is hunger. So especially here in this case, the Krishna, because of the cowherd boys and the friends were always, and they seen that Krishna is the very, very mystic, and he can kill so many demons. He can rescue from all the dangers. And here, they were always taking shelter of Krishna. That's why they are very dear to Krishna. No matter what, whether it is good or bad, they are always taking shelter of Krishna. When the forest fire comes, they all take shelter of Krishna. When the snake comes, they take shelter of Krishna. When the wind comes, they take shelter of Krishna. When the demons comes, they take shelter of Krishna. Krishna, Krishna, Pahimam, Trahimam. This is the mood of the gopis. A devotee is everything that is lessons for us. So in any situations, we should always take the shelter of Krishna. So that's mentioned here. So requested in this way by their friends, Lord Krishna and Balarama arranged to show compassion to certain wives of Brahmanas who were performing sacrifices. So this is the real, the crux of it. So please listen attentively. These wives were great devotees of the Lord, and Krishna took this opportunity to bless them. So there will be a question now, how did they become so much devoted to Krishna other than anybody else? The Brahmanas didn't become the great devotees of Krishna, but these simple-hearted, the village ladies, the gopis, how come they became very devoted to Krishna? How? Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur mentioned that when Krishna started his pastimes, when he was very small, they were all hearing about how Krishna killed Trinavartra, Putana, the Bakasura, Gasura, Dhenukasura. So various, and also they understood from the great personalities that when the great personalities like sages and all, they come to their village, They hear from Krishna. They hear about Krishna from these sages. So like this, they develop that love for Krishna. So they may not be much qualified in their education. They must not have various scriptural knowledge. But just by hearing, they developed the love for Krishna. So, dear devotees, this is called the purity of the heart. When there is a purity of the heart that goes deep into the heart, it develops that love for the Supreme Lord. But when a person puffed up with knowledge, a person puffed up with this wealth, a person puffed up with their own material qualities, then what happened? This love does not arise in their heart. That will become so strong that self-centered and they don't develop, they will be love for themselves only. But here on the simple-hearted, the village, the gopis, because of their heart is very pure, as soon as they heard about that the Supreme Lord taken birth into the Yadu dynasty and that he took the birth into the Gokul and then he was killing and he was acting like the great personalities and he's so attractive. His features and his hands, his lotus eyes, his body, his lotus face, his hair, everything is so beautiful. Just by hearing this, the simple-hearted, the gopis became so attached to Krishna. So where it arises? When that heart is cleaned, dear devotees. When our heart is cleaned with all these anarthas, our heart is cleaned with all these material qualities that I am, my, me, myself, then it goes into the deep heart of such devotees. Then only it develops that attachment and love for Krishna. So Krishna understood this. They were longing to see Krishna, not for anything else. But just to see that, just they heard that about Krishna, they were longing for Krishna for many, many years. So then this, we know that when Mother Rukmini heard about Krishna, Mother Rukmini never saw Krishna. But from Narada Dev, from the great sages about the glories of Krishna, the pastimes of Krishna, the great heroic activities of Krishna, naturally Mother Rukmini got attracted to Krishna. So dear devotees, that's why Sravanam is so important. When we hear with that pure heart, with sincere heart about the Krishna, our heart become melted and pure and cleaned. And then what happened? Naturally, that love for Krishna arises in our heart. Then what is the results? Krishna would personally comes to that devotee. This is the results. That's I can say that. We can see here. Because of Krishna didn't want to come that far. But Krishna take this opportunity to meet with the gopis or the wives of the Brahmanas. So, and Krishna took this opportunity to bless them. He said, my dear friends, please go to the house of the Brahmanas nearby. They are now engaged in performing the Vedic sacrifice known as Angirasa, for they desire elevation to the heavenly planets. So there are various sacrifices, each meant to have the various positions and the material opulences, like Ashwamedha Yagya to the position of a king, or the 100 horse sacrifices to the position of the Indra. So like that, Somarasa and so many ways, Putra Kameshti Yagya, so many sacrifices. So it will give that benefits. So here the Brahmanas were doing the Angirasa sacrifices so that they will elevate it to the heavenly planets. They are now engaged in performing the Vedic sacrifice known as Angirasa, for they desire elevation to the heavenly planets. All of you, please go to them. The Lord Krishna warned his friends. These Brahmanas are not Vaishnavas. So this is very clear. Why Krishna mentioned that? Vaishnavas means the devotees. Okay, Brahmanas means by birth they are so much, in their education, but they may not have much bhakti or devotion for the Lord. Or the devotion means loving devotion or service with love, that they may not have. So their lack of understanding. So that's why Krishna is revealed here that they are not devotees, they are not Vaishnavas. They cannot even chant our names. So that's why sometimes when they do this fire sacrifices or the ritualistic, the programs, what they do, they just the entire Vedas, like Yajurveda, Samaveda, and then Rig Veda. There were chants is various, with to say various meters, and Yajurveda in a very specific tone, Samaveda in a very specific tone, but they may not necessarily use the word of Krishna and Balarama. So Krishna here indirectly mentioning that everything else is less important, but if one takes the name of Krishna, that's more than enough even for the Vedic ritualistic activities. So that's why, dear devotees, this Hare Krishna Maha Mantra is very, very powerful, and Maha Mantra, because of that, surpasses all the other mantras. So that's why Krishna is mentioned. They may not even chant our names. They're not able to chant our names, Krishna and Balarama. They are very busy in chanting Vedic hymns, although the purpose of Vedic knowledge is to find me. So this is another problem. So sometimes it's mentioned that two ways that we can become very blind, right? Or we cannot see anything in two situations. When there is no light, we may not see it. But when there is excess of light, we may not see anything. Like when you look at the sun, we become naturally, the blind, we cannot see anything. Why? Because of there are excess light. And then there is no light, we cannot see it. So similarly, when a person is so much in knowledge and blinded with everything, or his ego, false ego, his self, this education or the wealth or everything, so person become blind because of excess that's overwhelmed the excess, and they blind become blind. And when the people does not have any knowledge, they are also cannot see anything. So that's what is mentioned here. Then they purpose the Vedic knowledge, they perplexed with it. And but actually the knowledge, the purpose of the Vedic knowledge is to understand Krishna, but they miss that part. As it says that in the Bhagavad Gita, 15th chapter, 15th verse. Krishna says that I am seated in everyone's hearts, right? Sarvasya chagam hridi sannivishto madhaga smrtir jnanam apohanam cha vedescha sarvamahameva vedhyo vedakrut eva chaham. And the purpose of the Veda is to known to me. Vedescha sarvam aham eva vedhyo. The purpose of the Veda is to know me. Vedescha sarvam aham eva vedhyo vedantakrut vedakrut eva chaham. This is the essence of the Vedas, to know Krishna. But what happens because of these puffed up situations, they cannot even understand that who is Krishna, and the purpose of the Veda is to understand Krishna. That's why it is Krishna. Brahma mentioned that in the Brahma Samhita, right? Advaitam achyudam anadi mananta rupam madhyam purana purusham nava yauvanam cha vedeshu durlabham adurlabham atma bhaktau. Vedeshu durlabham. Why Krishna, why Brahma says that Vedeshu Durlabham? To attain Krishna is Vedeshu, because of by this it says that the flowery language of the Veda. So in the Bhagavad Gita, 2nd chapter, also it's mentioned that Krishna is also mentioned the flowery language of the Vedas. One completely loses his purpose, the flowery language. So exactly here. So, but actually, the purpose of the Veda is to understand Krishna, but that we miss that part. But because they are not attracted by the names of Krishna and Balaram, see that why Krishna is referring very explicitly. One should attract to the name of Krishna and Balaram because of that name. The Krishna is not different from his name. So, dear devotees, one who is attached to the holy name of Lord, then he is not separate from him. And one who is attached to the holy name and attached, that means he is attached to Krishna himself. So this is very important. So Krishna and Balaram, the name, and non-different from Krishna and Balaram. Since the Brahmanas doesn't have any attachment or attracted to this holy name, they will not understand who is Krishna. So you had better not ask them for anything, my in my name. Better ask some charity in the name of Balaram. So here Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur mentioned that. So charity. So when somebody goes for a charity, like if a Brahman goes to a charity, according to the scripture, one should not deny that charity. And also according to the scripture, if you give some charity to the Brahman, they can get rid of all their sins and they can ascend to the heavenly planets. And one should definitely give charity to the Brahman and the cows and feed the cows. It's it is mentioned in the scriptures. So then comes the next category as Kshatriyas, then Vaishyas, like that. So here Balaram is considered as a Kshatriya clan. Balaram is the son of Vasudev. He's a king. He was the king, the prince. So Krishna is mentioning that because of those who are follow the Vedic rituals and all, they are very much tied up with this kinds of this caste, this Brahman, the caste. Then they go ask for this, this rules and regulations. Or if Brahman asks for charity, I should give. So Krishna was indirectly mentioning that the Brahman, these people were so much tied up with this so many rules and regulations. So better you take up your name rather than my name, right? Asking to the cowherd boys. So charity is generally given to high-class Brahmanas, but Krishna and Balaram did not appear in Brahmana family. Balaram was known as the son of Vasudeva, a Kshatriya, and Krishna was known as Vrindavan as the son of Nanda Maharaj, who was a Vaishya. Neither belongs to Brahmana community. Therefore, Krishna considers that the Brahmanas engaged in performing sacrifice might not be induced to give charity to a Kshatriya and Vaishya. But at least if you utter the name of Balarama, they may prefer to give in charity to Kshatriya rather than to me because I am only a Vaishya. So this is just the explanation of it. So being thus ordered by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, all the boys went to the Brahmanas and began to ask for some charity. They approached them with the folded hands and fell down on the ground to offer respect. O earthly gods, kindly hear us, who are ordered by the Lord Krishna and Balarama. So here it is mentioned that they address the Brahmanas are the earthly gods. So why Srila Prabhupada writes in the purport that because of that Brahmanas, Krishna has mentioned that Namo Brahmanya Devaya. Krishna actually consumes the bhoga through the mouths of the Brahmana. Why? Because of the Brahmana, because they are devotees of the Lord and they are very dear to the Krishna as well. So, but whenever sometimes they puffed up, then they lost their qualities. But that is not the case for everybody. So they are generally known as Brahmanas, supposed to be very pious. They are supposed to follow the footsteps or follow the instructions of Krishna, follow the will of Krishna. So that's what is real Brahmana means. Follow the will of Krishna and understanding that who is that Supreme Personality of Godhead. We know that in India there are so many group of Brahmanas, so many castes, so many, varieties of Brahman, the caste. There are so many because of the way that how they understand it. So, but ultimately, the pure Brahmanas or the Vaishnavas are actually, they understand the purpose of Vedas. They understand who is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. They engage into that kind of the service to Krishna and the Supreme Lord. They are the real Brahmanas. So, real Brahmanas, they are very dear to Krishna. That's why they are known as the earthly lords, because they are very close to the Supreme Lord. So, they were saying that they were addressing the Brahmanas like earthly gods. Kindly hear us, who are ordered by Lord Krishna and Balarama. This is the same way the cowherd boys went to the Brahmanas and requested. We hope you know them very well, and we wish you all good fortune. So this is generally that if you need to get something from somebody, so we would go and very humbly request that. We don't go and command and order, okay, give me food. Otherwise I will do this punishment for you. They won't. So every time, that's also another quality of a devotee, that devotee always sees everything very approach everything in a very humble manner. So they requested and they blessed the Brahmanas, you will have all the good fortune. Krishna and Balaram are tending cows nearby, and we have accompanied them. We have come to ask for some food from you. You are all Brahmanas and knowers of the religious principles. Why the cowherd boy says that? So, as if that the dharma, this is the dharma, that if somebody comes and asks you something, you should give in charity. You should not hesitate to do that. So you should always give something. If somebody comes and asks you something, this is the dharma, this is the religious principles. Especially no matter what, if somebody is hungry, and Srila Prabhupada writes, and if somebody is hungry, no matter what, who he is, so we are supposed to give the hungry and we should feed them. That's why Srila Prabhupada, you know why Srila Prabhupada, when Srila Prabhupada started the prasadam in every ISKCON centers. So one time in Mayapur, Srila Prabhupada, there was a big celebration. And there a lot of people came, and then it was a big festival, and then a lot of prasadam they cooked, and everybody ate so well, and they went away and they put all the banana leaves they were, they taken prasadam, they put it in a trash, a pit. So then nearby the village, that homeless or the poor, the poverty stricken, the boys and the girls, some elderly, they came and were searching food into this trash pit. And Srila Prabhupada was, when looked at through the windows inside his room, Srila Prabhupada saw this, that they were these poor, boys and the girls, and they were searching food in the trash. It melted Srila Prabhupada very much. Srila Prabhupada called out the senior Vaishnavas, disciples. Srila Prabhupada mentioned that nobody should be hungry within 10 miles of my centers. Nobody should go hungry. Nobody should be hungry within 10 miles of my centers. So please start to arrange the prasadam for everybody. So those days, prasadam only for the people, those who are invited. But that's why Srila Prabhupada started this Sunday feast program, feast, the feast for everybody. So there should not be any scarcity. We know that the Apple founder, what is his name? Anybody remembers? The founder of Apple, Hare Krishna.
Steve
Steve
Jobs.
Jobs.
Steve Jobs.
Yeah. Oh yeah,
Steve
Steve Jobs. Steve Jobs. He was hungry. He didn't have any money. He walked 6 miles to the Hare Krishna center nearby, and he just did to have prasadam. See that Srila Prabhupada envisioned. Srila Prabhupada declared that nobody should go hungry within 10 miles of my centers. So since that Sunday feast is started. So then so many people, in this court that, they're at least they can come and eat, many centers, many people come and take prasadam. It's the mercy of the Lord. It's the mercy of Srila Prabhupada. Always we should remember that. So this way, the cowherd boys were requesting to the Brahmanas, if you think that you should give us charity, then give us some food. And we shall all eat along with Krishna and Balarama. You are the most respectable Brahmanas within the human society. You are expected to know all the principles of religious procedure. So this is the dharma. If somebody come and ask for the food, say in especially in our places and all, every family, especially Brahmin families, before they eat their food, they would go out and call the people. Anybody is there hungry? Anybody is there looking for food? They would call out for 3 times, even if they don't have anything in their home. They would call out this 3 times. If anybody is there hungry, anybody is there starving, anybody is there looking for food, please come. Then only that the head of that family would eat. This was our culture, because of this was mentioned in our scripture, that even that a devotee stays nearby, nobody should go hungry. This is the duty of a devotee or a Brahmana or a Vaishnava, to make sure that others' well-being as well. That's our Sanatana Dharma, dear devotees, the great Sanatana Dharma. We should, even if somebody comes to our temple, we should not jump first and go first and take out all the prasadam and pack it and put in the car. No. If the guest comes, visitors comes, we should feed them first. Then if prasadam is left, then only we should eat. This is the culture of Sanatana Dharma, and especially the culture of a Brahmana and a Vaishnava. We should feed them. Even a guest comes to our home, We should feed them. Then the last that the household will take, if anything left. And that's our culture, dear devotees. This is called pure charity. This is called pure heart. So this is that they were reminding all this to the Brahmanas. So then, although the boys were village boys and were not expected to be learned in all Vedic principles of religious ritual, they hinted that because of their association with Krishna and Balarama, they knew all these principles. See, because of just by the association of Krishna and Balarama, Krishna is what? He is the Dharma personified. Balaram is the Dharma personified. He is very dear to his devotees. Always, execute the Dharma, the religious principles. Krishna and Balaram. Just by the association, the cowherd boys also understood, even they were more educated than, learned than, knowledgeable than the ordinary, these Brahmins. So this was mentioned that. So they expressed the point of view that when Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna and Balaram were asking for food, the Brahmanas should immediately deliver some without hesitation, because stated in the Bhagavad Gita, one should perform yajna, sacrifice, only for the satisfaction of Vishnu. So another name of the Supreme Lord Vishnu is called yajna. Yajna means sacrifice. Sacrifice is actually the name of Vishnu, the same name of the Supreme Lord. So anything that what we do sacrifice, that should be in the name of the Supreme Lord, not anybody else. So that's why, dear devotees, we say Sankirtan Yajna. Sankirtan Yajna means that sacrifice, that we are chanting the holy name to please the Supreme Lord, not for us, so that we are sacrificing our own, whatever interest we have, we are sacrificing, but taking the holy name to please the Krishna. So we are chanting for Krishna. We are making the bhoga for Krishna. We are remembering for Krishna. We are everything doing for Krishna. That's the real sacrifice. That's called Yajna. So Yajna is Sankirtana prayer. In this age of Kali, the Sankirtana Yajna is the most powerful. So one should take that Yajna, Sankirtana Yajna, that means that's to please Krishna. So everybody has to do that. So otherwise we are miser, and we are not in the name, we are not doing anything. So it's very, very important, dear devotees, that we should always perform the Yajna sacrifice, that, not that, always that we should enjoy. The opposite of enjoyment is called sacrifice. Okay. So we are on the plane of enjoyment, not on the sacrifice. So enjoyment is for the selfish purpose. That's our problem. That's our bondage. But on the other hand, we sacrifice everything. We sacrifice for that. That's why Krishna is a sarva dharman parityajya mam egam sharanam rucha. So this is the meaning of it. So if we do everything, sarva kama udar, sarva kama moksha kama, all this in the name of Krishna, and whatever we do, that is to please Krishna, then that is the real sacrifice. That's the real surrender that pleases Krishna. That means we are not miserly. We are not part of this material world. Anything that which we think that to enjoy this material, that means we are part of this material world, but we are not belongs to this material world. We belongs to Krishna. So that's why, that's our nature, that's our eternal duty. That's why Savai Pumsha Paro Dharma Yador Bhakti Radokshate. Savai Pumsha Paro Dharma. What is our supreme duty? Paradharma is to Yador Bhakti Radokshate. And Ahetugi Apradihada Yadatma Supasidada. That should be unconditional, unmotivated, and uninterrupted. That love for Krishna, that's why then we come to that platform, then we will not have any selfish interest. So then we will do everything for the satisfaction of Krishna. So it is mentioned here. They also explain the Brahmanas when the food is to be accepted, when it is not to be accepted, when to be. Generally, the Vaishnavas or pure devotees of the Lord do not take part in the ordinary sacrificial performance, but they know very well that ceremonials called Diksha, Pashu Samasta and Sautramani. One is permitted to take food after the procedure of Diksha and before animal sacrificial ceremony, and to the Sautramani or ceremony in which liquors are also offered. The boy said, we can take your food at present stage of your ceremony. For now, it will not be prohibited. So they were reminding them. They may give some excuses. They may give some arguments. No. Ceremony is going on. We are not supposed. So It is also they are reminding that this is the scripture says that before that the Diksha is over, the Sankalpa is over, that then you can take the food. Then again further, although the companions of Lord Krishna and Balarama were simple cowherd boys, they were in position to dictate even to the high-class Brahmanas engaged in the Vedic rituals of sacrifice. But the Smartha Brahmanas, who were simply sacrificial-minded, could not understand the dictation of the transcendental devotees of the Lord. So, dear devotees, here the Brahmanas and the Smartha Brahmanas. Smartha Brahmanas they are very much tied to this just the ritualistic or ceremonial, the ritualistic or ceremonies. They are bounded by it. They don't understand the purpose behind all this. Generally, they are known as the Smartha Brahmanas. And then the pure Brahmanas, they understand the purpose of all this, and they engage accordingly. So that's his mention here. So they could not even appreciate the begging of the Supreme Lord Krishna and Balarama. So here Krishna and Balarama is asking, requesting, and they should consider that this is their great fortune. When if they understand that the purpose of all this to the please Krishna. Although they heard all the arguments on behalf of Krishna and Balarama, they did not care for them. They refused to speak to the boys, despite being highly elevated in the knowledge of the Vedic sacrificial rites. All such non-devotee Brahmanas, although they think of themselves as very highly elevated or ignorant or foolish persons, all their activities are childish because they do not know the purpose of the Vedas. So it's very important, dear devotees. If you don't understand, you may read. Many people say that I read Bhagavad Gita, but ask for that, what is the understanding of Bhagavad Gita? They may not have an answer. They say, I read Ramayana, I read Mahabharata, but they don't know what is that the purpose, the meaning of all this. And that's their misfortune. And that's also another reason, dear devotees, we should always hear Srimad Bhagavatam and the scriptures from the self-realized souls. So they can impart because they have seen the truth. So this way that one who does not know the purpose of, then they are the useless. That means whatever they learned is useless. There is no use for it. So Lord Chaitanya therefore gave his valuable opinion that although a person may not be born in Brahmana family, but if he knows Krishna or the science of Krishna consciousness, he is more than a Brahmana. He is quite fit for become the spiritual master. Dear devotees, there is nothing to do with if the Brahmana is supposed to learn and understand the purpose, but on the other hand, a Chandala, a low caste, if he knows the purpose of he should be worshipped rather than the high caste. We know that when the Advaita Acharya had a Sraddha ceremony, many senior Brahmanas, ritualistic and ceremonial, they were all present. They think that, I'm so and so. I'm the greatest of all these people assembled here. Advaita Acharya was the Brahmana and he understood everything. So, but as an Agra Puja, Advaita Acharya called Haridas Thakur. He was a Muslim. He was from the outcast, a Mlecha community. But when Haridas Thakur took up this holy name, Hare Krishna, and understood the purpose of all this, then Haridas Thakur became the Acharya or the Namacharya, and he's the most pure Vaishnava and the greatest of all Vaishnavas assembled there. Advaita Acharya called out and did the performance of this puja, Agra Puja to Haridas Thakur. So this is the learning, dear devotees. This is the purpose of learning, to understand what is the real and what is unreal. Okay? So then there are various details to be observed in the performance of sacrifice. There are known as Desha, place, Kala, time, Prathyak, Dravya, Prathak Dravya, the different detail, paraphernalia, Mandra, hymns, Tandra, scriptural evidence, Agni, fire. So many this. All these are for satisfying Krishna. It is confirmed in Bhagavad Gita. He is the actual enjoyer of all sacrifices because he is directly the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Everything manifests from him, dear devotees, and everything is actually belongs to him, and everything is come from him. So everything is actually for him only. But people doesn't understand this because of their misfortune and misunderstanding. So then the boys saw that the Brahmanas would not reply to them even with the symbol yes or no. They became very much disappointed. They then returned to Lord Krishna and Balarama and explained everything that had happened. After hearing their statement, Supreme Personality Godhead smiled. He told them that they should not be sorry for being refused by the Brahmanas because that is the way of begging. So they went for begging, sometimes get it, sometimes not get it. So the person should be equipoised, whether get it or not get it, should not be sorry for it. So Krishna is reminding them that is the begging. So he convinced them that one who is engaged in collecting or begging should not think that he will be successful in everywhere. He may be unsuccessful in some places, but that should not be cause for disappointment. Lord Krishna then asked all the boys to go again, but this time to the wives of those Brahmanas engaged in sacrifice. He also informed them that these wives were great devotees. Mentioned that how they became great devotees because they have developed great love for Krishna. The devotees, who is the greatest devotee? One who has the greatest love for Krishna. So he would do anything for Krishna. He would do anything for Krishna. We know that many devotees, they sacrifice their life, right, for Krishna. So they have such a great love for Krishna. So they are the greatest of all devotees. They are always absorbed in thinking of us. So this is what is devotion. Always absorbed in thinking of Krishna and Balaram. Go there and ask for some food in my name and the name of Balarama. And I'm sure that they will deliver you as much as food as you desire. So this is Krishna. Krishna wanted to give blessings to the devotees, those who are engaged in the loving service to Krishna. So carrying out the Krishna's order, the boys immediately went to the wives of the Brahmanas. They found the wives sitting inside the Brahmana's house. They were very beautifully decorated with ornaments. After offering them all respectful obeisance, the boys said, "Dear mothers, please accept our humble obeisances and hear our statement. May we inform you that Lord Krishna and Balarama are nearby. They have come here with the cows, and you may know also that we have come here under their instructions. All of us are very hungry. Therefore, we have come to you for some food. Please give us something to eat for Krishna, Balarama, and ourselves." Immediately upon hearing this, the wives of the Brahmanas became anxious for Krishna and Balarama. These reactions were spontaneous. See this one? We heard about spontaneous love. What is that spontaneous love? Raganuga Bhakti. Raganuga Bhakti is spontaneous. Spontaneous attachment for when there is attachment for Krishna, the name we heard, Krishna and Balaram, the name we hear, immediately that we develop the attachment for Krishna. I was hearing this one in some people were moved to Antarctica. So they were kind of feeling so much of separation from holy name. There is no way that they can hear, no association. But they were in little hilly regions. They saw that far away there is some kinds of group of people. They were coming, and then when it's coming, and they were very curious to see who are they. So they were just coming like this, and they saw these are the devotees. They are chanting the holy name. They were doing the Sankirtan in Antarctica. So this devotee became so jubilant and attracted, and he ran to the devotees and told them, "I was feeling of separation from the devotees and not able to do anything here, but I'm so surprised and just hearing the holy name, I'm so happy." So the devotees, this is the devotion one should have. So the moment we hear, we forget everything. The moment we hear about Krishna, we forget everything. So it's very important. So for a long time, the wives had been eager to see Krishna. However, when they were preparing to leave home, before that, they were performing greatest form of mystic meditation. So when they hear about Krishna, they have such a love for Krishna, and always they are thinking about Krishna. This is called mystic meditation. All the wives then become very busily engaged in filling up different pots with a nice food. Due to the performance of sacrifice, the various foods were all very palatable. After collecting a feast, they prepared to go to Krishna, their most beloved object, exactly in the where rivers flow to the sea. They just rushed to Krishna. They just ran towards Krishna. These husbands, then all the relatives were trying to stop them, but they couldn't stop them. They were all eager to go and see Krishna. So, for a long time, the wives had been eager to see Krishna. However, when they were preparing to leave home to go to him, Their husband, fathers, sons, and relatives asked them not to go, but the wives did not comply. When a devotee is called by the attraction of Krishna, he does not care for bodily ties. So, dear, it's very important, dear devotees. Very, very important. The woman entered in the forest of Vrindavana on the banks of Yamuna, which was burdened with vegetation and newly grown vines and flowers. Within that forest, they saw Krishna and Balarama engaged in tending the cows along with their very affectionate boyfriends. So this was exactly happened on the moon on the Rasa Purnima day when Krishna started to play on the flute on the seventh note, and their heart becomes so agitated hearing that Krishna is playing for flute. They stop everything with on the dress that whatever they were wearing, they just ran towards Krishna. Similarly, here the wives of the Brahmanas, they heard about Krishna, the name of Krishna, they just ran with the food to feed Krishna. The Brahmanas wives saw Krishna with a blackish complexion. See, in the Bhagavatam, this is very beautiful. The words, this one, it's nicely explained. Wearing the garments that glittered like gold. He wore a nice garland of forest flowers and peacock feather on his head. He was also painted with minerals found in Vrindavana, and he looked exactly like a dancing actor on the theatrical stage. They saw him resting one hand on the shoulder of his friend, and his other hand he was holding a lotus flower. His ears were decorated with the lilies. He wore marks of tilaka. He was smiling charmingly with their very eyes. The wives of the Brahmana saw the supreme personality of Godhead, of whom they had heard so much, who was so dear to them, in whom their minds were always absorbed. Now they saw him eye to eye and face to face. Krishna entered within their hearts through their eyes. So it's very important, dear devotees. Krishna is Krishna, whether it is in the deity form, any form, in the form of name or of a name. Krishna is always Krishna. One can see Krishna in this beautiful form. So when that such a love develops for Krishna, that they could see Krishna like this. We know that Villamangalam Thakur compiled, very beautiful. Villamangalam Thakur, even though blind, could see Krishna. How Villamangalam Thakur compiled this Kasturi Tilagam Lalada Balagai. Vakshastale Kaustubam Nasagre Namo Moktigam Karadale Venum Kare Kankanam Sarvange Harichandanam Kandasha Sagalen Kandasha Muktavalim Gobasri Pariveshido Pajvijedo Gopala Chudamani. When Brahma saw Krishna, Brahma compiled Alola Chandrakalasadu Vanamalya Vamshi Ratnangadam Pranaya Keli Kalavilasam Shyamam Drabhangalalidam Niyada Prakasham Govinda Madi Purusham Tamaham Bhajam. Ananda Chinmaya Rasa Prabhuabhidabhis Tabur Eva Nija Rupadaya Kalabi. Goloka Eva Devasadiya Gilatma Bhuto Govinda Madi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. So many ways, dear devotees, when the devotees see Krishna, they completely, and then what they do? With that, when they have that such a, the sight for Krishna, and the minds are always absorbed in Krishna, then what would Krishna do? Krishna would just simply enter into their heart. See that? They would simply enter into the hearts of devotees, and then devotees could always cherish, always feel Krishna in their heart. Always feel Krishna in their heart. They would ask if that Krishna is, this is called that they would merge with Krishna. They would merge with Krishna in their thoughts, in their every activities. So they were always up. So now they saw him eye to eye and face to face, and Krishna entered within their hearts through their eyes. We know that the Mirabai, there was a story of Mirabai. Mirabai was going through this stage. Krishna was entered in the heart of Mirabai with that loving devotion. So I'm not getting into that. Time is getting up. So let me give me another 5 to 7 minutes. We'll conclude. Within themselves, they began to embrace Krishna to their heart's content. Within themselves. Remember that? Within themselves. Why? Krishna is entered into their heart. And the distress of separation was mitigated immediately. The devotees, they could feel Krishna. This is the greatest of all moments. They were just like great sages who are by their advancement of knowledge merged into the existence of the Supreme. Now they are ocean of bliss. Krishna is ocean of bliss. They completely merged into that person because of Krishna is within them. As the super soul living in everyone's heart, Lord Krishna could understand their minds. They had come to him despite of all the protests of their relatives, fathers, husbands, and brothers. And despite of all duties of household always, they came just to see him, who was their life and soul. They were exactly following Krishna's instructions in the Bhagavad Gita. One should surrender to him, giving up all varieties of occupational and religious duties. He therefore began to speak to them, smiling very magnificently. It should be noted in this connection that when Krishna entered into the wife's heart, when they embraced him and felt the transcendental bliss of being merged with him, the Supreme Lord Krishna did not lose his identity, nor did the individual wives lose theirs. The individuality of both the Lord and the wives remained, yet they felt oneness in existence. Dear devotees, this is the epitome of the loving devotion to Krishna. This is the epitome of the peak of the loving devotion to Krishna. Even though Krishna and the devotee, but they are completely in union with the Krishna. Completely in union with the Krishna. So this we can experience. So Supreme Lord Krishna did not lose this identity, nor the individual wives lose theirs. The individuality of both the lords and the wives remained, and they felt oneness in existence. When a lover submits to his lover without any pinch of personal consideration, that is called a oneness. Lord Chaitanya has taught us his feeling of oneness in his Shashtaka. Krishna may act freely, doing whatever he likes, but the devotee should always be in oneness or in agreement with his desires. That oneness was exhibited by the wives of the Brahmanas in their love for Krishna. Their devotees, this is wonderful and beautiful. Now one can reach to that level just by hearing and meditating upon the developed love for the Lord. So by hearing and meditation, chanting, one developed that love for Krishna. That's a gradual progress, and we learned that many times. Krishna welcomed them with the following words. My dear wives of the Brahmanas, you are all very fortunate and are welcome here. Please let me know what can I do for you. Here Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, asking to the wives of Brahmana, what can I do for you? Remember that. Krishna is ready to do anything for his devotees. You are coming here to see me, neglecting all the restrictions and the hindrance of the relatives, fathers, brothers, and husband is completely befitting. One who does not actually know this self-interest because rendering transcendental loving service unto me without motive or restriction is actually auspicious for the living entities. Ahetu, unconditioned, unmotivated, and uninterrupted, one performs loving devotional service that is actually auspicious for all living entities, dear devotees. When a devotee is mentioned that a devotee lives, one devotee lives in the family in a home, that entire home become very auspicious. Not only that, entire home become very auspicious, that entire village become very auspicious. A devotee, that's the power and the position of a devotee because of he is in oneness with Krishna and in the will of Krishna, executing the will of Krishna. So now Lord Krishna here confirms that the conditioned soul can reach to the highest perfection stage by surrendering unto him. So this is exhibiting this, dear devotees. The essence of all this, that one can attain Krishna by this love for him. One must give up all their responsibilities. This complete surrender unto Supreme Personality of Godhead is the most auspicious path for the conditioned soul because the Supreme Lord is the supreme objective of love. Everyone is loving his self according to the advancement of his knowledge. Ultimately, when a person comes to understand that the self is the spirit soul and that the spirit soul is nothing but a part and parcel of Supreme Lord, he recognizes the Supreme Lord as the ultimate goal of love and then surrenders unto him. This surrender is considered auspicious for the conditioned soul. Dear devotees, there is nothing that which is more auspicious than this, engaging the loving devotional service unto Krishna. There's nothing sublime or superior to that. Our life, property, home, wife, children, house, country, society, and all paraphernalia which are very dear to us are expansions of Supreme Personality of Godhead. He is the central object of love because he gives us all bliss, expanding himself in so many ways according to our different situations, namely bodily, mental, and spiritual. So then Krishna said, my dear wives of the Brahmana, you can now return to your homes. So Krishna, then they came and completely neglected, completely put everything behind. They came to Krishna. Now Krishna says, now you can return. So there is a beautiful paragraph, this one. Listen to that very carefully. Even though Krishna says that, okay, you go and return, you don't need to be, the physical proximity is not so important. But if you go and meditate and continue your devotional service, chanting the holy name, meditating upon me, definitely you are always with me. Not necessarily that we should be physical body. One who chants the holy name, physical or the meditating upon him, engaging the loving devotional service unto him, he will be always with the Krishna. So it's mentioned here. Krishna said, you can now return to your homes, engage yourself in sacrificial activities and in the service to your husband and household office so that your husbands will be pleased with you. And the sacrifice which they have begun will be properly executed. After all, your husbands are householders, and without your help, how can they execute their prescribed duties? The wives of the Brahmanas replied, dear Lord, this sort of instruction does not befit you. Your eternal promise is that you will always protect your devotees. Now you must fulfill this promise. Anyone who comes and surrender unto you never goes back to the conditional life of material existence. We expect that you will now fulfill your promise. We have surrendered unto your lotus feet, which are covered by tulasi leaves. So we have no desire to give up the shelter of your lotus feet, return to the company of our so-called relatives, friends, and society. And what shall we do if we return home? Our husband, brothers, fathers, sons, mothers, friends will no longer accept us at home because we have already left them all. Therefore, we have no shelter to return to. Please, therefore, do not ask us to return home, but arrange for our stay under your lotus feet so that we can eternally live under your protection. The Lord then said, my dear wives of the Brahmanas, rest assured that your husband will not neglect you on your return, nor will your brothers, sons, or fathers refuse to accept you because you are my pure devotees. So this is the fact, dear the devotees. So doesn't matter. Many devotees have so much of fear that what will think, what will my family think, what would nothing to worry, because of the moment you take the lotus feet of Krishna, then Krishna will take care of everything else. It's just a promise, it's a guarantee. So as we can see here, not only your relatives, but also people in general, as well as demigods, will be satisfied with you. This is the another point, dear devotees. As long as we take the shelter of lotus feet of Krishna, then you don't need to worry about anything. Everybody else will be pleased with you. So Krishna is situated as a super soul in everyone's heart. So someone who becomes a pure devotee of the Lord Krishna immediately becomes pleasing to everyone. The pure devotee of Lord Krishna is never inimical to anyone, nor can any sane person be an enemy of a pure devotee. Transcendent love for me does not depend upon bodily connections. Krishna said further, but anyone whose mind is always absorbed in me will surely very soon come to me for my eternal association. Krishna says in this Bhagavad Gita also, Manmanamahu bhakto madhyaji mam namaskuru mame vaishyanti satyam de pradijane priyosimi. Offer your homage unto me, worship me, and offer your prescribed duties, worship me, and offer your homage unto me. Thus you will come to me without any doubt. So Bhagavan also says in the Bhagavad Gita. So similar that Krishna is also that proclaiming and declaring. But anyone whose mind is always absorbed in me will surely very soon come to me for my eternal association. This is in the Srimad Bhagavatam, dear devotees. Krishna himself telling to the wives of the Brahmanas. So this is what? So very, very important. After being instructed by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, all the wives returned home to their respective husbands. Pleased to see their wives back home, Brahmanas sat together with them and execute the performance of sacrifice as enjoined in the Shastras. So then let me finish this one. I'm not going to. So what happened? Then seeing this, the wives of the Brahmana completed, they get the perfection, they got the seeing. And then by the mercy of the Supreme Lord, and by the association, the mercy, the Brahmanas also, their minds become transformed. They were started to repent. They were trying to, trying to come out of it. They will say, hell with my education, hell with my birth, hell with my Brahmanical qualities. I don't need any of these things. What is the use of it? Now, Brahmanas understood and realized that the great fortune of the wives of their Brahmanas, Krishna personally blessed them, and they were completely surrendered to Krishna. So they were saying that, oh, even though we are so great misfortune, unfortunate that even though Krishna is nearby, the Supreme Lord is nearby, we didn't have any opportunity. So now they were thinking that how we will go. Even if the Kamsa come to know that we went to Krishna, then they will kill us. So they were in that kind of situation. And Srila was writing that a person in this material qualification like this, even though Krishna nearby, come nearby, they will not even go to Krishna because of the material that will perplex them, because of the material conditioning. Even though we know that the Lord is the supreme and the supreme personality of Godhead, we will not even surrender unto him because of the material inflictions, material attachments. So this way, and it's mentioned that this way that even though they understood and realized that this is the supreme personality of Godhead, they couldn't even go because of their material afflictions. So dear devotees, even though we know that all this, we hear all this, but we don't even come closer to Krishna because we have so much of material attachment and afflictions like the Brahmanas. So this chapter is very, very important to understand, dear devotees, how that one can become pure devotee of Krishna just by hearing and the chanting and meditating upon the Supreme Lord. This way we develop the attachment for Krishna, we develop love for Krishna, then Krishna would personally come and give blessings and give his darshan to such devotees. And then even one devotee in the family, even the entire family generations will become, the understand that they would also get, some way or other understand and get the realization how these the Brahmanas got realization through their the Pakni, the wives of, and they considered, they declared that all these wives are our gurus. They started to worship all these wives of these Brahmanas has become their worshipable guru because of they understood more than us. That they were saying that they understood more than us. So thank you, dear devotees. This the way that Krishna is very, very wonderfully, delivering and giving this instruction in the pastimes, and the lessons that we all can learn from it is wonderful and amazing. And thank you so much for being there and part of it. And we go through this beautiful pastimes of Krishna. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna. Let me stop here and let me see anybody has any comments or reflections, anything would like to add. Thank you so much for joining. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Were you able to hear me, or I was just speaking? Please unmute.
We can hear you, Prabhuji.
Yeah. Okay, good. So thank you. Thank you so much. So what is your reflection? What is your realization and understanding after hearing these beautiful, wonderful pastimes of Krishna? Is one of the best. I like this one of these pastime very much. How Krishna is merciful, would personally go to the devotees, those who worship him.
Yeah, I always like reading Krishna book, Prabhuji. It's so exciting. Like, all the stories are very heart touching.
No, what did you say? Feeding Krishna.
Reading Krishna book.
Oh, reading Krishna book. Okay, okay.
It's always ecstatic feeling. And hearing. Yeah, it's very nice.
Wonderful. Very nice. Yeah, that's a fact. Very beautiful. These sections. So anybody has any other comments? Any questions? Please open up. Anybody would like to add anything? I see so many devotees. Padmamugi Mataji, Sachirani Mataji, Satyama Mataji, Pasanta Mataji, Mona Mataji, Anuradha Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Dandavat pranam, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Sorry, Prabhuji, I'm driving, so I couldn't talk much. But yeah, thank you very much. And this is also one of my very favorite pastimes to show that there is no distinction who can get the mercy of Krishna? Everybody can get the mercy of Krishna.
Yes.
So it has always been my very, very favorite. And I think we all face something similar to these situations, so we can relate. But
Yeah.
of course, we are not in that level of their devotion, but
Yeah.
we can at least take the hope that, yes, we also have Krishna's mercy is also available to everybody.
Yes. 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 See, Krishna wanted to give blessings to these devotees, and Krishna personally came for that. Krishna is Atmaram. He does not want this food or, from these Brahmanas or this. Krishna wanted that devotees that show, that reciprocate their love for him in that way. He's the Supreme Lord. Yep. Very nice.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you for this opportunity to hear Bhagavatam. So, we don't go out of our way, but you've made such a wonderful arrangement, for us to hear every day.
Yeah, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Srila Prabhupada says, and yeah. Thank you.
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
All glories to Srila Prabhupada.
All glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Wonderful class, Prabhu. This reminded me of one instance that I read. One of the devotees, senior devotees of Srila Prabhupada was sharing an incident like when Krishna Balram temple was being established in Vrindavan. When they were going to inaugurate, Srila Prabhupada asked the senior devotees to go around and invite everyone in Vrindavan. That go and invite everyone. Nobody should be left uninvited, because we want to show how everyone is doing and how we are doing. So one senior devotee, he went to one of the saints in Vrindavan. And I think he was a Mayavadi, I don't know, but from a different sect. And he respected Srila Prabhupada, he respected Gaudiya Vaishnavism and everything. But he did not like the fact that, some of the foreigners were converted as Brahmins and they were given Diksha, and, they were doing all these pujas and all those things, So Srila Prabhupada had prepared the senior disciples with a shloka from Srimad Bhagavatam only, where I think it's mentioned that Narad Muni only said that, there's no discrimination between a Brahmana. It's not like born Brahmana, but it should be like who takes that sect or that path of Krishna consciousness, and, anybody could perform it. So when he argued, like that Mayavadi saint said, no, I'm not going to come because, your guru is like converting everyone and all those things, and Brahmins are not supposed to be. So then he recited the shloka and he was amazed. He was like, Srila Prabhupada has trained you also well to, going into depth of this Bhagavatam. So it is there, stated there that, it's not based on any birth that one could perform or not perform Krishna consciousness, but it is by the activity, by the karma that one becomes that. So it reminded me of that, Prabhu. Thank you, Prabhu.
Yes, very good. Thank you so much for sharing. That is so nice. Yes, so many ways. That's why that's exactly the essence of it. That Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also came to reveal this to everyone. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said to Haridas Thakur and Advaita Acharya, go out. Nityananda Prabhu. Yari dekho tare kaho Krishna Upadesh. More you see, give this mercy. Krishna Upadesh means give Krishna to everyone. Nothing, nobody. Everybody can get this. That's a fact. That's a truth. Very wonderful. Okay. Anything else? Anybody? Any other questions? Since we are going through different sections. Anybody else has any other reflections?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, then my pranam goes to Prabhuji.
Krishna Prabhuji, then do pranam or goes to Srila Prabhupada. Yeah.
Yeah. Prabhuji, I have a question.
Yes.
If you are in very different setting by chance, you are in some crowd and they know that I've just go to temple and practice and all that, So, but the situation is that they are not into that consciousness, and the environment is not that fully conscious. So when they ask certain questions like, and do you still talk about Krishna in that environment or not?
I didn't understand your question. That means there are certain crowd. You're saying that they don't come
If
to temple.
they don't come to temple, the situation is not likely to talk about Krishna. And if they talk, if they ask any question during that time, should I answer? Should I talk about Krishna still or not?
Of course, yes. If somebody asks you what is this all about, what is this, who is Krishna, what is this all about, and you should definitely. Such Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, "Tare dekho, tare kaho Krishna Upadesh." Whoever asks for it, especially, and we should also take that initiative that to preach in such a way that that's why Srila Prabhupada, okay, mentioned that to go out and preach. Take the books and distribute books and preach. Preaching is the essence. Srila Prabhupada came up with that preaching is the essence. This is the way that they would come to know about Krishna. So we should definitely talk about Krishna. He's the supreme personality. That's why Srila Prabhupada took that initiative to propagate the Krishna consciousness. Krishna is the supreme Lord. We should say that Krishna is the supreme Lord.
Yeah,
And
but
everything else-
the situation is like it's not like it's it's like they are like not in that in the appropriate mood where they should be able to hear or listen.
yeah, we should always seek that. I mean, it's that that's our discretion that should always look for the time, place, and the circumstances, right?
Yeah.
It's not that we should always see that whom we are talking and time, place, circumstances. If you are acceptable, or if you are rebellion, or if you are atheist, if they are just trying to make a joke out of it, or they are because of the enmity or enviousness they are asking for it. We should be enough to understand those situations. And if they are sincere, genuine question and genuinely they are seeking for, then we should teach them, we should educate them, we should preach them, we should talk the Krishna to them. But somebody coming with a challenging mood or enmity and they wanted to challenge, and oh, your Krishna is like that. No, we should not make open anything such people. Because of what they are trying to do, they are going to make an offense against the Supreme Lord. Then we should be also liable for that. If somebody, because of us, that somebody making an offense, holy name, or offenses to Krishna and his devotees, then we are liable for that as well. So we should avoid such kinds of situations, right? So we should always have that kind of the time, place, and circumstances. Accordingly, we should, if there are genuine, sincere souls seeking for Krishna, we should definitely tell them. So nowadays, the certain crowds are, we cannot expect that. It's very difficult. Olden days were very pure, and people were very pure. They were receptive. Nowadays, people are not so receptive, and they have their own agendas and so many things. But we should be good enough, intelligent enough to understand all those situations whom we can talk to. And definitely, and if somebody asks for you, or somebody asks that, okay, can you just tell me that, what about your culture, about your sadhana, about your bhakti, about Krishna, we should talk to them nicely so that they will also come to know.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Okay.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you so much, Prabhuji. I was just meditating, like we started when COVID started, right? Our Zoom forum. And every day, recently we had Janmashtami. Still we are in that mood, like how nicely we celebrated. So every day Utsav in our life.
Yes.
And now we are preparing for Janmashtami and listening about Krishna's glories. Morning Bhagavatam, evening about Krishna's book and all that. So Krishna is already merciful, right?
Krishna is already merciful.
Through Guru and through our congregation, association of devotees, and all these shastras. We are getting. So he is just showering mercy upon us, everyone. And we had to, because of Srila Prabhupada. So I was just, when you were talking, I was just thinking about Srila Prabhupada, how we got all these things. Like Bahuna Janmana Mante
Yeah.
Prapadantene. He said like Vasudeva Sarvamiti Samata Sudurlabha. So we are really like rare soul. I don't know which kind of pious activities we did previous birth so that we got all these things, right? Because
Yes.
when we go outside and we see the people, they, because of ignorance, if they don't know what to do, what to eat, what to do, what to talk, nonsense things, they are just talking unnecessary thing which is not relevant, no use of that, like politics and other things, right? They don't know what to eat. Eh, so we are really very, very fortunate souls. I was just thinking, and like how we are getting mercy
Yeah.
through Shiksha Guru and Srila Prabhupada. So we can't express our gratitude now.
Yes. Yes, very true.
Speechless.
Wow. Yes, thank you.
Hare Krishna. Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much. Okay. Anybody else? Any other things to share? Okay. Thank you so much. Few announcements. We will not have class tomorrow. Tomorrow, Swayam Bhagavan Keshav Maharaj is coming to our temple. So Maharaj is going to give the class from 7 o'clock to 9 o'clock. So humbly request everybody please join temple tomorrow evening. So it's a rare opportunity. Maharaj is so wonderful. He explained, I think the topic is demystifying the, what is that? The topic, the concept of Hinduism, something. Maharaj is giving a, okay, demystifying Hinduism. Okay, I think there are a lot of misconceptions. So what exactly, that's what is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Srila Prabhupada brought to us. So it you can eradicate if you have any kinds of misconceptions about all this. Sanatana Dharma is basically, is everything, is an ocean. It is, by understanding that, and we can also getting more closer to the reality and understanding of the real truth of everything. So Maharaj is, is very, very powerful in that, explaining all those. So please join tomorrow if you can at the temple. That would be nice. Thank you so much. Let's pray together. Vancha kalpatarupasya kripa sindhubhyev cha patidanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo Vaishnavrinda ki jai. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai.
Jai.
Prabhupada ki jai. Ananda Gauri Vaishnavrinda ki jai. Gaura Premanande.
Hari Hari. Thank you so much, Simeshwar.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you,
Hare
Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Thank
Thank
you. Hare
you.
Krishna. Hare Krishna.